Hello and welcome to the Scholar Progenium. Today I've got another interesting bolt action video for you. I've managed to get my hands on some of the new German veteran infantry sprues from Warlord Games. I've had a little bit of a play around with them. I've even tried combining them with weapons from other sprues in the German range, and now thought we could have a little bit of a deep dive into what's on offer here. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Warlord Games have very kindly sent down a box of their new veteran German infantry, and a big thank you to them for that. We have a great relationship with the Warlord crew, and I'm just totally free to give you guys my honest opinion on this new set as someone who's been collecting armies of Germany since version 1. So let's get straight to the meat and potatoes. Let's look at this sprue in a bit more detail. What's the quality of the models and the sculpts, and what kind of weapons are we dealing with here? So it's a bigger sprue than normal for Warlord infantry box sets, but the bases do come attached to the main sprue, not separately. They have a ton of heads here, and just straight away you can see the improved quality that we're dealing with here. We've got plenty of grimacing, charging faces that have seen a lot of things. But on top of that, we've got some really cool extras. We've got some goggles. We've got a dude with a bandage and a cigarette. We've got another guy looking pretty mean there. We've got officers, of course. We've got helmets with a bit of camo on. And then if we take a look at the other side, we've got a dude with no helmet, just with his hair out. We've got a dude with a bandage and a helmet. And then we've just got a little extra, couple of mean faces. We've got a spare helmet there for you to do some extra modelling with. Now, I've got a sprue of the old German Grenadiers here, which I use for my veterans at the moment. And they're perfectly acceptable models. You've got Screaming Guy, you've got Grumpy Guy, so on and so forth, moving down the line. But you know, these are older sculpts. They're not as crisp, that's for sure. But the main thing is, I think the newer sculpts, if we have a look at them, they've just got a little more sort of cinematic character, you might say. When as I've said, I've put a couple of these models together, and when you get the heads on them, they really come to life. That's really, really cool. And you've got some really cool combos available. You know, Panzer Shrek with a bandage around his face and a cigarette, that kind of thing. So that, you know, there's a lot of modelling potential straight off the bat. Now let's get to the all-important weapons on offer here. Let's have a look. What are the scores on the doors? Well, you've got 6 SMGs in total, including this lonely SMG that's not being held in any arms at the moment. But 6 SMGs in total on the sprue. You get 8 rifles, so plenty of rifles. And then in terms of special weapons, it gets very, very interesting. And this is where I think the veteran players' ears might prick up a little bit, because you get a flamethrower. You also get a GRB-39 grenade launcher, which is a very cool weapon. I'm not sure off the top of my head the rules in 3rd edition, but in 2nd edition it was basically a one shot. It had 2 shooting options. One where you could do +3 pen against vehicles, and then a 1-inch template explosive shot, so like a single shot autocannon, or direct fire light mortar, if you will. So if the rules are similar in the new edition, that is very interesting and spicy. And right off the bat, when we're looking at these special weapons here, we're looking at the possibility of Pioneer unit. If you get 6 sprues, then that's going to be, or 5 sprues, I guess, then you're going to have 5 flamethrowers on there, which is enough for a couple of individual ones, and, you know, a couple of squads with them with a spare. You've also got that GRB. I mean, that's a classic engineer weapon, so that's a cool special option ready to have for when the book comes out in January. And then in terms of LMGs, we've got this LMG here. It's this one's set up so that you can glue it onto someone who is kneeling down. Now I've built up an example of this machine gunner, and first impressions, I'm just really pleased with the model. It's very characterful, and I just love the fact that he's feeding in that ammo belt to his machine gun with his left hand, whilst he's going to have this obviously leant on a wall when I base him up. Now, a couple of things I did learn. If you wanted to have this guy as an LMG gunner, just using one of the pieces of wall that is on the sprue here, you can't stick it down. It's too long to stick on a 25mm base if you just wanted to add him as an LMG gunner. It will stick straight across the middle, but then he's behind it. Now, it will fit on a long base. So if you've got long bases spare that maybe you've not used from anti-tank riflemen from the British 8th Army sprues, or who knows, you got those longer ones, then yeah, you could definitely just pop that guy down, have this guy behind it, and he could be spraying away. That fits in perfectly there. But he doesn't fit on the single one. And but you do get plenty of these little walls, so you can build them up, and you get 3 of the larger, I think 40mm sprues, so you can just build them up as legit weapon teams on those bigger sprues that come in the box. Now I have built up an example of the other LMG gunner as well. This time he's shooting from the hip. Now I actually have a model very similar to this that I scratch built with my Grenadier sprue back in the day, and yes, the ammo belt is feeding in from the wrong side. My apologies for that. But the thing with this old LMG is there was no sort of ammo belt or ammo box on the other side of the LMG, as you can just see there. However, with this guy, he's got that drum mag on there. And I just, for me, as someone who's collected Germans a long time, I really like that detail and being able to sort of build this model and it being right. So before we take a look at all of these weapons glued onto models, I've just got this extra anti-tank rifle here. I haven't built this one up yet, but it strikes a similar kneeling down pose using one of the brick walls for a bit of cover. And of course you could stick that on a 25mm long base, just as you could the kneeling down machine gunner. So before we go through the rest of the sprue and my thoughts on the weapons that are available, I just thought I'd show you a couple of the models as they're stuck together. So this is the flamethrower guy. I used the flamethrower combined with the injured guy with the cigarette. I thought, yeah, he's really cool. Chuffed with him. And the model stuck together beautifully. It wasn't fiddly at all. Those pipes just attached to that backpack, no problem whatsoever. Just all went together really flush. And there's no ridges or anything. You can use that flamethrower on the majority of the models on the sprue. There is one model that it doesn't actually fit onto, which is the second kneeling down guy. There are 2 kneeling down guys on this sprue. My personal taste is that I like most of my riflemen to actually be stood up or in running poses in some way. And I usually use kneeling down guys for spotters, scratch built mortar crew, so on and so forth. This kneeling down guy can't have the flamethrower, but the other kneeling down guy can. It's just because of the angle of his knee there. So just something I discovered as I was playing around with the models. Thought I'd point it out to you guys so you have a fuller picture of how things go together. Now, in terms of models going together easily, these models, they just work. They're so flush. This LMG gunner, when I was snipping him off the sprue, I thought, oh, this belt's going to be a bit fiddly. I can just sense it already. But I was totally wrong. That belt of ammo in his left hand just slotted into that machine gun. No problem whatsoever. The pose just went together absolutely perfectly. And it all ended up, really flush. Just first try, there was no drop-in, gluey guns on the floor and, that kind of thing, which is really nice. And Warlord have really upped their game in that regard. I remember some of the old GI and British infantry sprues and Soviet sprues where you had to stick the rifles into the hands individually. Whoa, some painful evenings building those guys, I can tell you. Now, if we look about the sprue in a bit more detail here, there's some really cool little touches. I really like that MP40 with the stock folded in so it can be carried as one of your soldiers is jogging. You've got all kinds of, you've got 2 sets of binoculars. You've got magnetic anti-tank mines. Everything's really crisp as well, I have to say. There's almost no mold lines, anything like that. really good quality, the sprues I've had. And of course, you've got all the standard fare. You've got gas cloak containers if you want to go early war. You've got your poncho containers, classic part of the German kit. You've got ammunition pouches for rifle ammunition. You've got ammunition pouches for SMG ammunition. And you've got pouches for about everything in between. You've got extra tins of ammo and stacks of mines and so on and so forth. And one thing that I'm a big fan of here that I just wanted to point out was this. Now, this seems simple, but it's something that I really like, is the ammo belt shaped to go round someone's neck. Now, this is a feature of the old Grenadier sprue. This is a loader I've had since forever. And, you know, I just really like the look as it comes together. So there's some other cool touches on the sprue as well. We've got a flare pistol, so you can easily build up a forward air observer or artillery observer. You've got a little wavy sign for the, I can't remember what they're called, gendarmerie or something like that. But that's a special troop option that'll be coming in the new book. If we take a closer look at the explosives available, we've got, of course, this magnetic anti-tank mine here. We've also got one of those cool grenades where they strapped loads of stick grenades together. And they've just got a little topper there so you can attach that to existing grenade models and grenade throwing models that you might already have. So that's a cool little addition. I might be adding a couple of those to my existing grenadiers that I've already got built as I go, just to make them that a little bit cooler. So overall, it's got some really nice touches, really high quality. As we can see, we've got a stack of mines there, as I mentioned earlier. And the models are just really crisp, and they've got some nice, cool touches and some little bits so you can build a variety of support models as well. It is truly a platoon box. So as we can see, the little gizmos are really cool and the weapons options are really interesting. And I want to talk about those more in a second, but to do that, I first need to say what the sprues don't have. You see, this is very important for you to understand, especially if you are a new player or someone who's just considering starting to collect armies of Germany. And that is that this is a early to mid-war set of models. And what that means is, yeah, you get loads of SMGs, you get enough SMGs to just arm everyone with SMGs if that's what you wanted. But you don't get any assault rifles, nor do you get any Panzerfausts. So no assault rifles and no Panzerfausts. So if you were buying this as just your core infantry to your first jumping off point in armies of Germany, you would be lacking those weapon options for your infantry. So with that in mind, I thought, let's have a look how these models combine with weapons from other sprues. So first of all, I thought, well, maybe if you're just getting started, you might have the Battle of the Bulge starter set. And so let's have a look at how it combines together with the Fallschirmjäger sprue. Fallschirmjäger sprue gets a couple of Panzerfausts. Now you get one where you're just carrying it in one arm here by your side. So of course you can stick that one onto any of these models and you're never going to notice it. Yeah, the arm's a bit more padded, but no one's going to notice if it's painted the same colour. Now there's another one which is firing, and I thought, what if we can make some cool firing models? These guys have character after all. I'm enjoying building them. Let's see what we can do. And as you can see here, this is the Fallschirmjäger arms here with the extra padding, and really, even unpainted, you just can't even tell. And actually, it went together, as I'm sure you'll agree, basically flush. It fits together great. Like, this guy is going to look absolutely fine without any milliput as soon as he's painted. Well, fine enough for me. Your opinion may differ, of course. But yeah, so we can get some Panzerfaust onto the sprue if we want to. And this is a little officer that I've decided to build myself up. And I've given him a cool hat. And I've given him the running assault rifle from the Fallschirmjäger. So the rest of the parts are from the new Grenadier spot. And again, this guy just fits together absolutely perfectly. Just no issues whatsoever, which is great. That's just easy scratch building all the way. Now, you might be saying, well, I don't want to have to go out and buy 2 sets, but I'm just wanted to highlight in this portion of the video to new players that they wouldn't get every single weapon option that's available to the German army in this veteran infantry box. but that if they're, just adding various sprues to their collection, then they're going to go together just fine. So we've had a look at the weapons options, we've had a look at the sculpts, and we've had a look at how everything goes together. Now let's have a little think about what all this means in terms of adding this to your collection. Now I think Warlord have made some very interesting design choices here, because this sprue is not just for new players, but I think it's almost targeting people who already have an existing Armies of Germany collection. With this box set, you can get your hands on some really cool models, and you're getting those special weapons that you need. You don't need to build any riflemen, you don't need to build any SMGs. You could build 6 anti-tank rifles if you're thinking about trying that out in a list. You could build a ton of LMGs. Maybe you've only got 3 or 4 LMGs in your old army, and now you're thinking, I want to take 4 squads all with 2 LMGs in. So with all that being said, as someone who's been collecting Armies of Germany a while and has a relatively large collection, I'm pretty pleased with this box, because it gives me access in large numbers to a variety of weapons which I've not got already existing in my collection from version 1 and 2 due to the changes in platoon structure and the nature of the game. As someone who is just getting into Armies of Germany, there are some pros and cons you have to consider, because as we've mentioned, you don't get access to assault rifles, but the other sets don't get as many rifles or SMGs. You don't get enough of either weapon to build everyone in the box with rifles, or everyone with SMGs, or everyone with assault rifles. You're going to be having a mix in there. Whereas with this, you can just build pure rifle squads. You can build pure SMG squads. You only get, I think, 3 SMGs and a couple of assault rifles and maybe 4 rifles on the Fallschirmjäger set, and the Grenadiers are very similar. So it's just something you have to weigh up in your mind. Do you want to have access to absolutely everything? Are you going to be adding other sprues to your collection? Have you already picked up or have your eye on the Battle of the Bulge starter set, for example, with a friend? In that case, these things don't matter. But if you just want to build these guys and you only want to have these guys in your force, you are going to be missing out on the Panzerfausts, and you are going to be missing out on the assault rifles with this box set. But those really are the only cons. In my mind, this is the best looking set of models that Warlord have done for Armies of Germany. I really like all the cool extra touches, and I really can't wait to get all these flamethrowers and grenade launchers into action in my own games of bolt action. So that's enough waffle from me for one day. If you've enjoyed the video and you like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on all of our weekly bolt action content. If you're considering picking up some of these for yourself, I'd be much obliged if you use the affiliate link in the description below. That'll really help the channel out. And a big thank you to all of our channel members. We really appreciate your support in getting us this far, and we can't wait to keep putting out content for you guys going into 2025. I hope you found this video interesting and entertaining. This has been the Scholar Progenium. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.